Good evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you're listening from. Ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 10 of Boy Blue and Bigby. I am Boy Blue, and my co-host is...
Bigby.
Which I already said, but
Yep.
you got to say it too.
You got to make sure I'm here.
Yeah. And today is our 10th episode. I already said that too. But we are focusing
on
milestone.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah. Here's to 10 more.
Yay.
We are focusing on Ed Brubaker for our creator spotlight and Sean Phillips as well. It's a double creator spotlight.
The dynamic duo.
Yes. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, a lot of their stuff for Image. And I'm pretty sure we're just going to spoil lots of things. So, spoilers are in effect, because I feel like for this creator spotlight things, we're just celebrating how much we like their stuff.
Or love their stuff. Because Ed Brubaker, he's like one of a kind.
He is one of a kind. Sean Phillips is kind of one of a kind too.
Yeah, he is. Together, they're like one of a kind team.
Whoa.
I know, right? It just boggled the mind right there.
It really did. So I think I'll just name off some things they've done. Scene of the crime, which I think that's Sean Phillips on there. I guess I should double check that. Fatale, Criminal, Fade Out, Sleeper. Oh man, Sleeper is so good. I feel like those. Oh, Kill or Be Killed. That was really fantastic. I actually need to finish that series.
I think they also did Incognito together.
Incognito, yeah. Which I haven't read. It's on my shelf. I need to read it. I know. I should have read it before this episode.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I know. It's slacking.
It's a really good one.
So I think we have the same favorite. I'm not even sure if I just said it because I'm like leading up to it. Fade Out. Fade Out's my favorite.
It is my favorite.
I know it's your favorite.
Yeah. It's like my top pick for everything. Like Fade Out, Fade Out.
It's a good one to loan to people too, if you know that they're okay saying or reading bad words and saying that, and then you're like, yeah, it's fine. But Fade Out's good because it's like 12 issues, right? It's a pretty
it's a pretty decent size
thing, yeah.
I was looking on my shelf right there because I have it like right there next to my other hardcover stuff. I'm like, yeah, just making sure it's right there. Yeah.
Wow, that was lovely. Me coughing really loud. So Fade Out, it's been a little bit since I read it, but basically sort of a murder mystery. Takes place in the 50s, where a lot of writers for Hollywood were blacklisted for one reason or the other, usually because they thought they're communist or something. So there's a writer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a writer who is blacklisted and he's still writing, and then his friend who wasn't blacklisted is like taking the credit for all of it. Meanwhile, the guy who was blacklisted is just like a drunk and depressed. Already right up my alley, you know, drunk and depressed.
But you don't even. It's like when you say right up your alley, I think, oh, does this guy drink and be depressed all the time? Like, nah, he just drinks coffee. What is he trying to lie to our followers and whatnot?
No, I'm just stating something I've noticed. I mean, I like BoJack Horseman. I like Fade Out. I like Hawkeye because he gets drunk and depressed.
I'm worried right now. Because you bring up good point. They're all depressing, alcoholics, and
I was even in Hellboy, I was telling my wife, I was like, oh, I really like Hellboy Mexico because bad stuff happens and he gets depressed and drunk. And she's like, okay, whatever, man.
Oh, that was a good one.
It's just I maybe it's because I want the hero to rise above it, which, since we're getting to the spoilers, Fade Out, he does not rise above it. Oh my
Nope.
gosh. It's like one of the most
He
bleak,
gets worse, yeah.
one of those bleak endings of like anything.
But it matches the tone, though,
Yeah, I wouldn't want
because
it any
it's like,
other way.
oh, yeah, like a dark. For the listeners who don't know his stuff, most of his stuff is noir style, which a bunch of those that have like very depressing endings, and Fade Out is one of those kind of endings where it's dark, nothing really changes, the character really learns a small lesson, but not enough to change what he wants to change, because he still gets the same, like drunk and miserable and whatnot.
Yeah. And so I sort of got distracted by the depressing drunkenness, but
Yeah, you
with
did.
with that going on, there's the movie they're working on, the lead actress is murdered. So then there's like they're also looking for a new actress to fill the role. So yeah, good stuff. I'm trying to remember details. I definitely liked it because, and I feel like this is Brubaker being ahead of his time, because he's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that book dealt with, harassment towards women in Hollywood, and
Mm-hmm.
that came out, before
All this
all
harassment
these
stuff.
scandals. Yeah, so
Mm.
it's an interesting book, and I mean, honestly, like I'm pretty sure if I remember right, his uncle, Brubaker's uncle, was like a writer or something during that time. So a lot of it he based off of his uncle's life. I'll fact check that in a little bit, but I'm just like, man, if people were not treated great, and by people I mean women were not treated great
Yeah,
in that story. So it is
they were not.
it's pretty sobering
Yeah.
uh topic. I would say
Well,
I would say Fade Out is a 10 out of 10. Like I
I,
think it's pretty much perfect.
I say it's like a 20 out of 10. That like top tier at 10 right there.
Yeah, you
But
did. Wow.
yeah, it's such a great standout series that I always like to reread and reread when I'm like, oh, let's get some depressing noir style in my life right now. I'll read Fade Out, and much of his stuff uh, is it's beautiful to the way he portrays each character and how they have their backstories and this, that, and all the other, and the art matches it perfectly. But with Fade Out, I think it's like there's some magic to it
Mm-hmm.
that keeps me wanting to read and read and reread it over and over again, because I think like back in that time period in the 1950s, that's exactly how it was when women wanted to get into Hollywood. They had to be like joining these little cliques to see who does this, who does what. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think the incorporation of real life actors into the story kind of grounded it in real
Yeah.
life, where it's like, oh shoot, like these things happened. I did just look it up. So the story is partially based off of Ed Brubaker's uncle. So
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
I'm not just making things up.
Yeah, you're just pulling that out of magic hat. Like, yeah, if it sounds good enough, it's true,
Yeah,
then.
might as well just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great story,
Mhm.
but definitely one for. Actually, I'm going to say this pretty much for everything Sean Phillips and Brubaker. For the older kids,
Yeah, it
definitely not.
definitely is. Yeah,
Yeah,
not kids, not children.
yeah,
Teenagers, maybe if they're stable enough to handle it, but
right, yeah,
because there are some dark things in this in this book that is just like um it's just it's just dark in its reality style kind of twist. Like you could see these people actually going on with their lives with these producers
Right.
forcing them to do certain things. That's
And
that.
what is most disturbing about the fade out, I think, is the studio's insistence that the murdered actress, it was just like a fluke. You know, she
Yeah.
died. They're like covering it up, saying she. I don't remember even how they lie, but they're so bent on getting their picture out. Their picture. Look at me. They're
Yeah,
so
look at you
bent on.
talking like a
Yeah.
1950s guy. Yeah.
They're so bent on getting their movie out that they brush aside this murder, and it's so casual, and ultimately, so big spoiler, but we're there already. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. That's like the ending of the book is just the bad guy's not getting caught. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, another, woman died filming a movie. Oh well, move on. We'll shoot the next
Yeah.
movie. It's pretty bleak, and like
It is.
the character, the main character is just like, well, oh well, can't win them all, and he just
Yeah.
kind of goes off and walks down the street.
With a bottle in his hand.
Right. That's the name Fade Out. It's just
Yeah. Just
that's
like
it.
a film, just it fades out.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I mean, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but I think if Brubaker had written that now, it would be like a reaction. People are like, oh wow, that's a smart reaction to what's happening. But the fact that that was already done and he's just thinking about that stuff, I don't know. It makes it interesting to go back and read it now, I think.
Mhm.
Because I think in, whenever it was 2016, it wasn't that long ago, but when I read it initially, I'm like, oh, that's awful how things used to be, and then we're finding out that this
So
is
like
happening now.
2017,
Yeah,
2018, yeah. It still happens. The producers want their things, and it's sad that you think about it like that because when one actor dies, they usually have to like um they really want the movie to come out, and they just like do everything in their power to make sure the movie comes out. Like
right.
Fast and the Furious, when Paul Walker died, they had like his brothers come in, do CGI, and make sure like Paul Walker wasn't um like he wasn't at all in it. Like the close-ups were him and or his brothers, but from a distance, they kept like showing them from a distance, so they can't tell
Right.
the difference. I guess that's
Uh-huh.
what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And then with Heath Ledger and what is it, the Doctor Imaginarium of something Emporium,
Mm-hmm.
they had like three different actors fill in the role for him, like Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law, all portray the same character once he jumps into a mirror or something.
Oh, I had not
Yeah.
heard that. Interesting. What a wonderful time to be
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah, to get these awesome references from Hollywood and whatnot.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, the follow up series after Fade Out was Kill or Be Killed. The same team, Phillips and Brubaker. Did you read Kill or Be Killed?
I have not.
That one's pretty good, and it's still obviously Brubaker, but tonally, it's kind of him almost doing like a comic book. Like at the end of each issue, you're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? It's very much like I always describe it as Spider-Man meets Punisher. There's a kid who tries to kill himself, and
Oh my god.
yeah, always a good way to
Are you
start.
serious?
Yeah, I say kid, he's like 20 something, but he tries to kill himself and he fails and a demon comes to him and says that he is the reason he didn't die. He like saved his life, but now he has to take a life every month in payment, or he'll die. And it is pretty bleak because every month
That sounds bleak.
every month he has to like find someone to kill, and he tries to pick like bad people, obviously. But there's also like an element, and I didn't finish the series, so I actually don't know how it ended. There's an element of he also is on medication. So you're not quite sure if it's real, what he's seeing, because he's been in like I'm trying to think of the word, not like an asylum, but he's had
mental care kind
right, yeah, exactly. So you're not really sure if it's actually happening. I'm not even sure if they ever really tell you. That's why I probably should finish the series. But I do believe there might be a movie coming out of it.
For to killed or be killed?
Yeah, so I'll fact check that too. Sing a song while I fact check.
I feel like Fade Out should be a film.
I agree.
Rather than Killed or Be Killed.
And I think it would be like I was just saying, it'd be a good time for that movie to come out.
Yeah.
Because
like everybody in Hollywood would be in an uproar for Fade Out.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. Art imitates life. Say what? But to killed or be killed sounds nothing like what I think he would write.
Yeah, it's kind of different.
Demon and whatnot. I'm just like, what? That doesn't sound like Brubaker.
No, it really doesn't. Although there's a demon in Fatale too, so yeah.
Yeah.
So Kill or Be Killed, a movie in the works from the director of John Wick. There you go. Fact check.
What?
Yeah.
John Wick? Oh, so expect some actions out of that guy.
It is kind of funny though, because I read Kill or Be Killed, the most of it in single issues actually, and because it really is addictive. Like you get to the end of it and you're like, I need to know what happens now. Like it's. And he says he designed it to be like that. But it's funny because he, in the single issues, he has these extensive kind of notes in there. And originally he wanted the demon to not really be seen, kind of just like a shadow. And Sean Phillips just straight up draws like a demon. Which like you're just like, oh, that's a demon. So like he changed the story somewhat to like fit this like demonic thing that Sean Phillips drew, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, oh, it's an interesting relationship they have.
We'll just do it in the background. You can't see it. Like, okay, there's a demon. You can see it. Yeah.
But it's cool that he's willing to make changes to his script and his story to fit.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I would put Kill or Be Killed up there with some of his other things. I think it's good, but I mean, like I said, I didn't finish it. I kind of fell off at some point. I was like, like, not that it got repetitive, but at some point it's like, well,
it's stale, kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that long. It's maybe like 20 issues, but it's like, okay. So he's gonna kill another guy. I'm just guessing. Either he's gonna kill another guy, or this demon will come kill him. So
I feel like it's a good idea for like. I feel it starts off strong, but as you said, like it's not repetitive, but still goes stale. Him killing someone each issue, and then staying alive. At one point, this kid's gonna be like, I don't want to kill people anymore. Just do a demon and then.
Right. Also, for those who have read it, that first guy he kills, I thought that was pretty. That guy deserved it. I mean, I was like, he's a pretty bad guy. I shouldn't say that. It's pretty mean of me, but I feel like he picked a good person for him to kill first. I was like, oh, that was a good choice. Good choice, Dylan. That's the guy's name.
This is Dylan.
Maybe it's Dylan at work.
Maybe. I mean, he is pretty weird. Eh?
So what's some other Brubaker Phillips? Well, you read you just an Incognito. I haven't read that. Tell me about
It's
Incognito.
it. I will not lie to you. It's been like a long time since I read it, and I want to say it's the superhero one that he does, but I could be wrong.
Right, he's like either a superhero or a super villain, right? But he's in like
Yeah,
witness protection or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's a little bit coming back to me, but I think that one was like the first Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips thing I read was Incognito
Mhm.
because I picked it up and I was like, huh, this looks interesting. I started reading it and I was like, oh my goodness, this is from the point of view of. I'm sorry if you followers out there who read it and think I'm wrong because I probably am wrong. That's how long it's been since I read it. It's just um, I do want to say it's the villain one where he makes a deal and then he gets like caught or he tries to go back to being bad. Sorry, it's been like a really, really long time since I read it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
only know like from reading the back of the book, but I think that's right. I think he like wants to go back
Mm-hmm.
to being a villain,
Yeah.
being evil.
And now I got to go back and reread it because
Yeah.
that's like literally the first Ed Brubaker thing I read, and that's before the Captain America, the Batman, and everything else that I read that he's done. This was like my introduction into him.
Oh.
Yeah, so it should hold a special meaning to me, but I can't remember the plot. It's in there, and I know like he had like a bunch of cool villains and heroes in it, and that's what intrigued me the most about it.
Right. Well, so what I've read by him that's kind of superhero-y ish
Yeah.
is Sleeper. And Sleeper actually technically takes place in the Wildstorm universe, like vaguely. I mean, it kind of references things,
Mhm.
but Sleeper is very good. Basically, the main character is undercover um, in this criminal organization, and the only guy who knows that he's actually one of the good guys dies. So
Oh, that's right. I did
yeah,
read that.
so
Yeah.
nobody knows that he's on the good side, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And man, the things he does to remain undercover, I'm like, dude, just get out of there, run,
Yeah.
stop doing
Yeah.
your thing.
Get out
They're
of the.
they're bad because he it's so
That's right. He keeps
blurred.
going deeper and deeper
Yeah,
when he's trying to get out. Yeah.
it's so blurred, and I mean, I just the entire time I just want him to like stop, but he doesn't. He just goes deeper and deeper um, to stay undercover. So I that may be my second favorite thing those two have done, just because I mean it's just an interesting tale. I find
Yeah.
it very captivating.
It really is because it's also it's kind of like The Departed in a sense when you said like the guy dies and they don't want to they can't bring him he can't prove he's a good guy
Mhm.
kind of thing and it's like the film Departed by Martin Scorsese with Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Mark Wahlberg, and all these amazing actors. And it's pretty much that. I guess that's why I also like a bunch of his things because it's like it, it's they have their own twists and turns, like in that film. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna do this? What? How are they gonna explain that? What's gonna happen? Like, that's what he does in Sleeper, and I forget how it ended. It's been a while since I read that one too.
Yeah, that one's good. The the thing about Sleeper is there's, and I won't spoil it, I don't think,
They
but
already know. Spoiler
yeah,
alert.
but there's because well, also because my memory isn't great. I'm trying to remember what happens, but definitely a warning to. I mean, we already had like our, be old enough to read this warning, but there's definitely an. I won't say all Brubaker things because that would be wrong. That's not right, but he doesn't shy away from rape. Like there's definitely like in Sleeper, there's definitely some pretty brutal stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I don't think he does it for like to be edgy. Like sometimes you read stuff and you're like, I feel like I was in there just to be like, ooh, I'm dark and bad. But with Brubaker always comes off as like him just like, look, this happens. And it's kind of it can be uncomfortable, but I mean, same with Fade Out. Fade Out is pretty uncomfortable at points, but you're like, well, he's exposing something that happens. So I think with Sleeper, what's really challenging is like those awful things happen, but the main character can't like do anything about it because he's undercover and he doesn't want to blow his cover. So I would say Sleeper's pretty challenging to read actually. If you're not into violence and violence towards women and all that, might stay away.
What does Bruto and Brubaker have in common?
They both have bees.
They both have brew in it. BRU.
Well, that's true.
So he has to have Bruto in this stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of me yammering on about how dark Brubaker is, if you want to read a lighter Brubaker thing, and once again, my memory is awful, so if you read this and there's something horrific in it, I apologize. But Velvet is very good. It's basically a female James Bond, so she's like a spy. It's not Sean Phillips, but it's Steve Epting. And Steve Epting is an amazing artist. So I would recommend Velvet if you're new to Brubaker. Read Velvet, see if you like it. If you don't like Velvet, then I would probably stay away from
everything
else. Unless it's Captain America or Daredevil, something,
or Batman, something a little lighter.
Yeah,
that's not in its own universe kind of thing.
But yeah, if Velvet's too much for you, I would pretty much stay away from everything else creator owned he's done.
I honestly thought you were going to say one of his lighter stuff. It's actually one of my favorite kind of things that he's written because it's that whole what's it called, like stealing things, and it's called Criminal.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I thought you were gonna go like, oh yeah, but then I was like, backtracking my brain, like, there's not rape in there. There is a crazy amount of cocaine and drugs, and there, like drug references. I was like, no, there's no rape. And I kept going back. I'm like, huh, is this the one he's talking about? Then you said Velvet. I'm like, oh no, it's not Criminal, but a Criminal is my second favorite Brubaker story because it's the whole I think it's the start of his little criminal universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's about what is it, Coward, I think is the first one.
Yeah, Coward is the first one. Yeah. Lawless, I think, is the second. The Dying, the Dead, I think it's the third one.
Yeah, and they're all connected, and it's so great how he does it because they're all grounded in realism. I think so. They're like all grounded in, like, they could actually happen in the whole real world kind of scenario, and they're all just interlocked with each other, and they keep bringing in characters from one series. Like the one from Coward pops up, I think, in I don't remember which. I think it's either the second or fourth volume.
Mhm.
and Criminal. He just like comes in passing, and then the bartender shows up, and a bunch of them after that, and a bunch of after Coward.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
how the bar where all the
yeah,
criminals hang out, that's like what unites them. Like
yeah,
it's a very interesting way of keeping the universe together, just having them all go to the same bar.
yeah. It
I
makes
think,
sense too. Like, where are
yeah.
all these criminals gonna go? Into the bar.
I think Coward is still my favorite. I'm disappointed in myself, but I haven't read all of it. But definitely like Coward.
Yeah, because it's the like the whole. I like this little not kidnapping.
Heist.
Yes, thank you. Heist films.
I kn yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
was like
yeah,
trying to remember the name of it.
it's a
Yeah.
heist film, and it's I think that's why I like Brubaker. He,
Mhm.
noir, it's been done a ton, and it's not just a heist film or a heist book. It's a heist. This is my last one. Then I'm quitting the job.
Yeah.
It's like as
Yeah.
stereotypical as you can get, but
Yeah.
somehow he still has a twist, and you're like, oh my gosh, wait,
Mhm.
I didn't see that
It's
coming.
yeah. But the thing with Coward is like they call him a coward because he always chooses to run away from stuff because he wants to, survive. But
Mhm.
towards the end, he shows like his the real reason why he has all these rules is because killing him comes pretty easy. Like in the
Yeah,
beginning, I was like, oh, this guy just like runs away. Like what kind of thief does that? And then towards the end, he like goes in when he has nothing left. He goes in and starts killing all these people. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah,
what? Like I
yeah.
did not see that coming.
It is great. I really like Howard. I thought
Hmm.
Lawless was okay, and I can't remember
Hmm.
why I thought it was only okay, but that one didn't resonate with me as much. But
Hmm. That's the
Coward,
boxing one, right?
no, that's I think that's Dying in the Dead.
Oh, okay.
That's the Lawless one is I think there's like the Lawless brothers, and one of them is
Yeah.
in like overseas in the army.
And he comes back because his
Yeah.
brother dies, and
Mhm.
yeah,
It's pretty good. That I don't know
yeah,
why that one didn't do it much for me, but
hmm,
it's still all good. But
yeah. Everybody has like their own certain picks from that universe. Like, oh,
right,
hey, yeah, this is good. We like this one, but again,
and
we happen to share that it's Coward.
yeah, and Criminals returning in 2019.
What?
Very excited.
Huh. That I'm actually very intrigued now
Yeah,
that
I
it's coming back in 2019.
I need to finish that series. I also
Mhm.
want to read their latest thing. I think it's called like All My Heroes Are Junkies, something like that.
What?
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll make sure. It's like it wasn't a series. It's just a graphic
Mhm.
novel. Let me look it up. All My Heroes Are Junkies.
That this kind of sounds like that Justice League one that
Yeah.
we recently read. That's what it kind of reminds me of. Like all my heroes are junkies, and then this one, like all the heroes are in a safe house or whatnot, or what is it, a halfway house?
Oh
They get
yeah,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sanctuary. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's an interesting title. It's My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies.
Okay. My hero's the one who gets rid of junkies.
I'm not
He
sure what it's
shows up.
about. As far as I can tell, I think it's about a woman who's a drug addict. I mean, I don't know.
Oh my
Well,
god.
if anyone can do that, it's
Oh
Andrew
geez.
Baker and Sean Phillips.
Yeah.
So we haven't talked much about Sean Phillips, but um, man, his art is good. I mean, in that it perfectly
Hmm.
fits the
Everything
tone of his
Brubaker
writing.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very realistic. I know he uses a lot of photo references. I think I've seen him take pictures of himself and then draw them,
Hmm.
which I think is. I mean, a lot of artists do that, but it's kind of fun to see that. Um,
And the process, like behind the
yeah,
scenes.
and I don't know his art. he he has a way of, and I'm kind of just spouting nonsense because I don't have anything in front of me, but he doesn't use backgrounds a ton, which I
Mhm.
always find interesting. Like there will be kind of like close-ups on characters. He's really into that, it seems like. And it'll just be like these kind of bold backgrounds where he's not the colorist, so I kind of
Mhm.
I think it's Elizabeth. I'll mess up her name, but I think it's Elizabeth Brightweiser.
Let me check. I got fade out right.
Because
Yeah,
she's been working with him a lot.
yeah. Elizabeth Brightweiser.
Yeah, she does really. It's interesting seeing those two together because he won't draw a background and then she'll make it like red. It'll be just like this
Yeah.
bold color, or like it'll be kind of a purple muted thing and then something really bold. So I don't know. His
Yeah.
art's gorgeous. There it
I'm trying to
is.
show you. Yeah. I don't know if you could see it very well.
That's I don't see a background, so I know I'm
Yeah.
not just making up things.
You're not, because a bunch of these, I'm sorry, folks, I got fade out right here in my hand. And a bunch of them, yeah, there's like not a whole bunch of background for a good chunk of the story. Like this one, for example. He finds the lady's underwear. He's like shocked and whatnot. No background, just the main character holding some panties. Yeah,
But yeah,
Elizabeth
his art is
Brightweiser.
it's so good. I think I mean I know he's done other stuff. I'm really only familiar with his stuff with Brubaker,
Mhm.
but I can't really imagine him drawing like a superhero book. You know, his art just works so well with a realistic look.
Yeah, it really does, especially in fade out. I'm sorry, I have it like right here in front of me. So,
Yeah, no, that's all right.
so and a bunch of this stuff is literally like I could see these people in real life, especially the actresses and the main character with the glasses. Trying to find his name.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, yeah, like you could actually see him as a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie with his rounded glasses and a classic cigarette in his mouth.
Uh-huh. And then like I mean we're back to fade out, so we're back to fade out. But his drawings of the real people. I can't remember. Is it Humphrey Bogart who's a character in there? Or am I
Yeah,
completely wrong? Yeah,
no, it is. It's Humphrey Bogart, and they mentioned like quite a few other people too.
yeah. I just love how they're. I mean, they're so realistic. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
very good photo reference. I
Yeah,
like it.
and the typewriter split in the in the middle of it, like in the
Oh
hardcover,
yeah,
the
yeah.
typewriter in the background. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Sorry, it's just that this is one of my favorite books, and you could see that's one of the photo references that you're speaking of.
Right.
When he's just sitting there and he takes a picture of himself and then draws it, and you could even see the process on this page.
Mhm.
So if you guys want to know how what I'm referencing, go buy the Fade Out Image Comics hardcover. It has like a behind the scenes kind of stuff in the background, and it's really cool. And a bunch of information of what he writes and how they draw, how he draws it particularly, and it's amazing. Only $49.99 for the hardcover.
Yeah, and on Amazon it's $33 right now. So not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get that before it becomes like not available. I don't know how
Yeah.
often Image reprints their stuff. Like I know Criminal, the deluxe editions of Criminal went out print pretty
Did it?
recently. Yeah,
Oh wow.
so um and then Fatale might still be in print
Hmm.
because there's things like they'll keep forever. I mean, Saga and Walking Dead I don't see anyone having an issue with finding that.
Mhm.
But with some Brubaker stuff, I could see some of it going out of print. So if you want it, get it. And I think that's the way to read it. I mean, obviously you can get the trades too, but the deluxe is pretty nice.
They are. They really are. And I got to go on a search for the Criminal Deluxe Edition
Oh,
and find
be
it somewhere.
careful.
Yeah.
You can find some on eBay, I'm sure. Make sure I'm not lying again. Criminal Deluxe Edition. Brubaker. Let's search that. All right, so Amazon. See all buying options. Oh, you don't want to see that message.
Why not? Oh, that's right. Because there's like.
So the first one comes up as $120 used.
What?
Oh boy.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you know.
Yeah, I'll probably just wait till it gets on Amazon or in stock trade. Because you always find a cheaper option somewhere else at least.
That's true. So yeah, Sean Phillips, Ed Brubaker, they really are the dynamic duo. I'm always excited when a new book is announced by them. And obviously Criminal is an old book, but a new
storyline.
New story. So I'm trying to think of ones we didn't touch on. Fatale, if you like some horror mixed in with your noir, it's kind of, I mean, almost like kind of a Lovecraft thing. Fatale's pretty good. I think can't remember how long that series is. I think it's long enough where there's 2 deluxe editions. And if a deluxe has 3 trades, let's say it's 3 trades, it's probably like 6 trades long, so pretty easy to read. And other good Brubaker.
With Sean Phillips or just in general?
Yeah, with Sean Phillips.
Let's see. The Last of the Innocent was a criminal one. We got Sleeper Season 1.
Oh, Scene of the Crime. I haven't read that, but I think that was our very first one. So if you want to start your journey with the first Brubaker and Phillips outing, I believe it's Scene of the Crime.
Wow, he's done a bunch of stuff that I read.
You're so knowledgeable.
Yeah, I'm like, huh. Well, right here it says he's done some for Marvel Comics, and I'm like, the Marvel Zombies.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what? Because his drawings in that one looks nothing like.
Oh, you're talking about Sean Phillips?
Yeah, Sean Phillips.
Oh yeah, I remember looking him up at some point and seeing Marvel Zombies and being like, wait a second, is that the right guy?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense when you compare it to all his other stuff he's done with Brubaker. I'm like, oh my goodness. Heart of the Beast looks interesting.
Well, do you have any closing Brubaker Phillips thoughts for this evening?
Buy Fade Out. Fade Out is probably my my go-to thing to anybody at this point. Like Fade Out, Criminal Cowards, and Incognito.
And I would put in Sleeper as well. I think this is me showing how nerdy I am and how much I pay attention to this. So bear with me. But if you want to read Sleeper, there's a pretty thick trade. It says Sleeper Book 1. I think it's the first 12 issues. And I think if you've read that and you're like, when's the next one coming out? I think the second thick book, thick trade of Sleeper is coming out next year, which will have issues 13 through 24. So that will, I would suggest just wait until it comes out, buy both. Then you have the whole series.
Collection.
Yeah. Because I myself have been wondering, when it's coming out. And then I saw it was announced. I was like, oh boy.
You're getting ready now, aren't
I'm
you?
getting
You're like,
ready.
add to cart.
Pre-order.
Yeah, that's what I feel like would happen. Like, add to cart. Somebody's, you cannot add this to your cart.
No.
Yeah. Start freaking out, like smash stuff all around.
And this is just a weird aside, but if you want extra bonus material and you like that kind of stuff, buy the single issues, because Brubaker always puts bonus stuff in his single issues because he wants people to buy them, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But he writes these really long essays about like what he's been reading, his favorite TV shows. He has.
What is his favorite TV show? Just out of my own curiosity.
Oh, I don't know what his favorite is, but
Oh.
he writes about like he's a big TV guy. He actually wrote on Westworld, I think. He was one of the writers of Westworld for HBO. So he watches a lot of TV. So he I mean, if I can go grab some issues.
No, that's all right. It's just like, I'll go search.
But yeah, he usually has like a little letter or essay we're talking about what he's been reading, like novels he's been reading or movies he's been watching, TV, all that. And then he usually has a guest essayist, and they're usually educational. Like I was like, especially,
really?
Yeah, the Killer Be Killed ones. I was like, I'm learning stuff. What? So if you like bonus material, check it out. I would say there's probably even more bonus material in the back of his single issues than you would get in like deluxe edition type things. Yeah. So, fun fact.
That's now I gotta go try to find some Brubaker stuff just to learn more about the guy. So non-Sean Phillips and Brubaker stuff that I love to work that he's done was obviously The Winter Soldier and The Death of Captain America, if I remember right. Because he wrote both of those, I believe.
Yeah, his Captain America run
is amazing.
I'm a fan of his Daredevil, mostly because of the Devil in Cell Block D, which is a fantastic story. So
I don't think I read that one yet.
Speaking of Daredevil, it's tomorrow. Oh my gosh.
Is it? Oh, that's right. Oh man, time flies when you're waiting for Daredevil to come back up.
It does. I feel like it was, I mean, it was probably about a month ago where they like put up that teaser and I was like, oh my gosh. So folks, we will have a Daredevil spoiler fest probably a couple weeks, probably a few weeks from now, just so everyone can watch it, because we want everyone to watch it before we go into it too hard.
Yeah.
Very excited.
I am too, because I haven't been paying attention to the news feed for Daredevil because I want to keep a spoiler-free zone.
I did find it. That makes sense, because I saw when you sent me that thing that was like, wait, I think Bullseye's in it. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure everyone knew that.
Yeah, you see, I did it. That's how excited I was. I keep when it comes to these shows for Marvel's Netflix series, I like to keep it blank slate, so I'm surprised and I enjoy it more. So like, oh, that's that guy. But when I saw the like the teasers for season 2 of Daredevil for the Punisher, I was like, oh my god, like I got chills. I didn't know they were gonna bring him in until I saw the teaser. And I was like, oh my god, I had chills when he did that little One Batch song. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then when he did it for what was it, Elektra 2, I got like chills. Defenders, when they were all that elevator thing, I was like, oh my god. I don't know. I thought the less information I know, the more hyped I get. So that's why when I sent you that, I'm like, I think that's Bullseye. Because it was like really amazing. Like I got chilled. I think I watched it like 4 times after I sent that to you. I was like, oh my god.
No,
the way he did it.
I told my wife that. I think like, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I saw a video. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Bullseye. And I showed her. And then when you sent me that like a few days ago, you're like, oh my gosh, it's Bullseye. I was like, what? And then I showed her,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Does he just not watch the stuff?" I was like, I don't know. But now I
No, I
know.
don't.
Now I do.
Yeah, I keep a spoiler-free zone
Yeah, that's good.
for the most part. Yeah, because I don't want people ruining it for me
I
when
mean,
it comes to the
I'm
internet.
a little jealous that you're gonna be able to start watching it sooner
Oh
than
yeah,
me. I'm gonna have to
you
turn off
should
my
be.
phone.
Yeah, well, I recently got the internet up in my living room, so I'm just gonna come home and watch it on the big screen instead of my little phone. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
so I was like, yeah. So we got sidetracked, but this was I was just really excited when I saw him do that because Bullseye is a hitman. If you guys don't know that, he's Daredevil's greatest villain, I think, in my opinion.
I would say so.
Yeah, and Kingpin's like a second to me. So it
Yeah.
goes Bullseye, then Kingpin. But when I saw him in the suit, just like throwing the billing clubs, and then Daredevil just catches it in midair, and he's like looking amazed that someone's throwing his own weapon at people. I'm like, oh my god, that's Bullseye. And then he goes, who are you? I'm Daredevil. I'm like, oh shit. Sorry. The language was like, oh shit, there he is. That's gonna be the big bad. So sorry. I got pumped for that.
I'm so pumped for it.
Yeah.
Well, next week, I already forgot what we're doing, but we already have figured out. And then 2 weeks from
Oh,
then,
I could tell you what's next week's episode.
let me know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, next week, episode 11 is we were challenged.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
We were tagged by uh L
By my wife.
Yeah.
Elliot Brooks.
Elliot Brooks. We were tagged to do a 10 questions for giving.
For charity. Yeah.
Charity,
Charity.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's about books, so naturally ours is going to be tweaked for graphic novels and comic books and all that good stuff. And I'm really excited for the first question because I was working for the past few days trying to come up with a good reason for my pick, and I got it.
Oh.
I got it. So it might be a little too informative, and you definitely will be outgunned at that point, sir.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
And then week after that, we're doing spooky things, spooky stories, Halloween things. And then probably after that, maybe we'll do Daredevil. I won't. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 weeks we'll do a Daredevil spoiler. Everybody would have seen it by then.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We are on YouTube. You're probably listening to us on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
We're also now on the Instagram. So
Yes.
we're putting up very short little reviews and pictures and stuff of what we're reading. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all later. Leave some comments. Talk to us on Instagram. As long as you're not hacking us.
Yeah, that would be a shame.
That would be a shame.
I would cry. I'm like, oh my god, they hacked us. If you don't want to see Bigby cry, don't hack us, please.
Exactly. So I am Boy Blue.
And this is Bigby. And we are signing off. Beat you to it.
You did. Brr.